She runs the small of my personal space with barely any concept for personal boundaries. Sometimes she will break into a quick little jog just to make me laugh, and I do. Sometimes she will notice that I could predict her movements, and that's when she will change her direction just to catch me off guard, and I pretend I do. Then she will hug my leg so tightly so as to make me feel uncomfortable. But I allow her to anyway, because she is Naila Ehsan and she is the love of my life. Before Naila was born, I was already an uncle to her brother, my nephew Nade Ehsan. So I've had a little bit of experience with being a fabulous uncle. But Nade was never as distant as Naila was, and neither was he as calculative with his show of affection. I thought I knew everything there was to be a very good uncle. I bought them educational toys. I never forget their birthdays. I will bring Nade out for the occasional kid flick movies. And I always make sure they look presentable when they're out with me. But I never could get used to Nade hugging me in public and making sure everybody within a 50-meter radius of our vicinity knows just how much he loves his Uncle Zat. I never knew how to receive love. At least not in the way that Nade and Naila showers me with theirs. Theirs was a different kind of affection, and somehow I couldn't tell the difference. Naila was born premature at 34 weeks. She was tiny. At 20 days old, she was tiny, and she cries a lot. She's fragile, breakable, to be handled with extreme care and caution. Sometimes when my mom gets exasperated with her incessant crying, she will pass Naila over to me, and gently she will pass Naila over to the cradle of my arms, huge when compared to the smallness of her physical being. I will then carry her over to my computer table, where I will play for her the soothing piano music of Joe Hisaishi, and she will almost immediately fall asleep. When I place her on my bed, she makes everything in my room look soft, gentle, almost human-like in quality. I've spent many an hour just staring at her tiny fingers, her tiny toes, and knowing that this ache in her heart, this pain too, shall come to pass. When Naila was 1 year old, she did not remember me as fondly or as clearly as Nade did when he was 1. That left me with mixed emotions. On one hand, I really couldn't be bothered if someone did not recognize my presence. But on the other, every rejection felt like a cold frost that stabs at me with such ferocity that it becomes instantly recognizable as every passing attempt at love, one heartbreak after another. I wanted so much for Naila to know my lies, my secrets, my pretenses. Here was someone for whom I would love to have my insecurities laid bare, because her youth would spare me judgment. Her innocence would spare me searing pain. And so I went about trying to find an activity, an uncle-niece activity that we could do together, an activity that was exclusively for Uncle Zat and Naila. And what I found took me completely by surprise. I began tying her hair. At first, it started out very simply. I'll take a brush and I will comb it through her thick, luscious locks. And then I'll secure it with a pin. Sometimes when I was almost done combing her hair, I would look around and then I realized to my horror that there's no pins to be found. I would then call out to my mom and tell her to drop whatever it is that she was doing, and insisted she pass me a pin. It was right about the time when Naila was 1.5 years old when I realized that she was allowing me, and only me, to tie her hair, where every attempt by everyone else would be met with such sure and swift rejection. Naila is allowing me the privilege of closeness to do something everyone else found impossible. And as her hair grew longer and curlier, it took me longer and longer to tie her hair. Oh, the things you learn from tying the hair of a 2-year-old girl. The kind of weaponry you have to wield just to make sure that her flyaways are neat and always kept in control. Sometimes I took a very tedious 10 minutes just to do up a style, but Naila was patient, and I was surely getting better. I knew for sure she remembered me when one day I came through the door, and the moment I sat down, she came after me with a comb and a rubber band waiting to be transformed into my niece. I once videoed the both of us while I was tying her hair, and I was perplexed at how ridiculously happy I looked. Because I seldom am really, truly, and freely happy. Naila scares me because with her, I've learned to enjoy hugs. I've learned the vulnerable, completely unadulterated art of giving and receiving hugs. You see, I've always held a stoic belief that a hug is an intimate connection that requires explicit consent between two willing parties. A hug, a hug needs a reason. A hug needs a season. But Naila hugs me because she doesn't know any other way to express fondness, and I hug her back because how can I not? Sometimes when I take out my phone's front-facing camera just to take a picture with her, she will settle very comfortably on the left nook of my lap. And when she looks up and struggles so hard to call me Uncle Zat, I've learned to be forgiving, because love forgives. Naila holds my hand when she is afraid or when she is unsure. Once, we brought her to a water park at the rooftop of Causeway Point in Woodlands, and I really wanted her to stand under this bucket. This huge bucket that will tip over a huge wall of water when it is filled. But when she saw what was about to go down, she was having none of it. She came running after me with fear in her eyes, and she insisted I carry her with her swim gear all wet. But for a while, it didn't really matter, because Naila teaches me to care for someone else's feelings other than myself. And that is a lesson only a 2-year-old can teach. I think my heart softened the more I interact with Naila. She has taught me to be curious. She has taught me to love myself. She has taught me to laugh at myself. She has taught me the magic of wonder, and that it doesn't really matter if my clothes were soaking wet, as long as I can keep someone else feeling safe and warm. She has captured my heart, and I have fallen for her sense of freedom. I've never said I love you to Naila, or to many other people for that matter. But with Naila, my declaration of love comes between the questions of, what's your name? Or what color is this car? Or when I hug her so tightly, cheek to cheek, eyes closed, and knowing that eventually letting go will not be as scary as I thought it would be. But most importantly, Naila has taught me that it is safe to love again, and for that, I am truly grateful. Thank you.